Morning, everyone. I think yesterday when we closed, there were a couple of questions, correct, which I told will continue tomorrow. Uh, can anyone help me to recollect what was the question?
Hi, good morning.
Yeah,
I
morning.
Yes, I asked the question on delisting. Why do companies go for delisting?
Sorry, what is delisting?
Like removing their name from the market, getting delisted.
So your question is what is delisting, correct?
No, why? Also, why?
Why?
Yes.
Okay. Why? Sure. Yeah, sure. So delisting is reversal of listing, which means listing is when you register your name on the stock exchange. That's listing. When you remove your name from stock exchange, that is called as delisting. When you do listing, a private company becomes a public company. And when you do delisting, a public company again becomes a private company. For any doubt till this point, this is what is delisting, your first part of the question before I go to why. Any doubt in
Okay.
this?
No, got it.
Okay. Now, why? Why a company goes for delisting? There are a couple of reasons. First is a forced delisting. Forced delisting is, suppose a company has breached certain law but has not fulfilled certain requirements. So the stock exchange or the regulator uh, decides that company should not continue to be listed because company ने कोई fraud कर दिया है या company has not complied with the law of the land. So that's called as forced delisting. So the exchange or the regulator issues the notice, or issues the kind of a penalty notice भी बोलते हैं कुछ countries में उसको, which says that the company has not done this. So for example, listing की फीस होती है, annual fees पे करनी होती है because you're becoming a member of a national stock exchange NSE. So NSE will not give you free lunches, correct? So annually आपको एक fees पे करनी होगी. Suppose आपने वो fees ही pay नहीं करी, you are not able to pay the fees. So what NSE will do after couple of notices to you, they have no choice but to remove you from the listing. जैसे आप एक क्लब की मेंबरशिप लेते हो, अगर आप उसकी एनुअल फीस नहीं पे करोगे तो ड्यू डेट के बाद एट अ पॉइंट the club has to remove you from the membership, right? So same thing. Another thing could be that you've done a big fraud. Okay, you've done a miscommunication to the shareholder, something like this. जैसे सत्यम में जो हुआ था, ठीक है, stuff like this. So वो होती है forced delisting. Second is
Okay.
voluntary delisting. Voluntary delisting is जहाँ पे companies, so suppose company A has gone for listing, company A decides and comes back to the exchange and say we want to delist ourselves. उसको voluntary delisting बोलते हैं. वो क्यों करते हैं वो भी समझ लेते हैं. So one reason could be the company now wants to shrink, मतलब कंपनी अपने आप को क्लोज करना चाह रही है, फ्यूचर में कंपनी शट डाउन होने वाली है. सो बिफोर द कंपनी इज गोइंग फॉर शट डाउन, द कंपनी इज गिविंग बैक द मनी जो उन्होंने शेयर होल्डर से लिया था. दैट इज वन. सेकेंड इज द कंपनी इज ऑफ द व्यू, उसके बाद बहुत पैसा है कंपनी के पास, द कंपनी सिटिंग ऑन ए हाई कैश बैलेंस एंड देयर इज नो फ्यूचर प्लान फॉर एक्सपेंशन. तो कंपनी क्या करता है, उस कैश को यूज करता है शेयर होल्डर्स को पे करने के लिए, जिससे कंपनी का जो स्टेक है वो वापस आ जाए. जो जो ओनरशिप है कंपनी ने जो और शेयर होल्डर्स को दिया हुआ था, डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया था, वो रिवर्स हो जाए. तो ये ब्रॉडली रीजंस होते हैं. एक है फोर्स डीलिस्टिंग, एक है वॉलंटरी डीलिस्टिंग. इसमें ये दो रीजंस मैंने आपको बताया, इन दो कैटेगरीज में रीजन बताया कंपनी गोज फॉर डीलिस्टिंग. तो एनी क्वेश्चंस?
In these customer, how the customer is impacted or not impacted?
कस्टमर, हाउ इज कस्टमर कहाँ से आ गया? यू टॉकिंग अबाउट कस्टमर, यू टॉकिंग
The
इन्वेस्टर?
shareholders. Sorry, the shareholders. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So So when company is going for delisting, so again, first category देखते हैं. So where it is forced delisting. So regulator announce करता है company has to go for delisting. Company will be thrown out. ठीक है. So जो investors होते हैं उनको एक period दिया जाता है कि let's say 14 days, 20 days कि in 20 days में आप अपना शेयर कंपनी को वापस दे दो और एक प्राइस डिसाइड किया जाता है. So company offers the price. Let's assume अभी current stock price 100 rupees का चल रहा है. Company will come out and say we are delisting and we will buy back our share at 120 rupees per share. So अभी 100 चल रहा है but कंपनी को बाय बैक 120 पे करना पड़ेगा. प्रीमियम पे होता है हमेशा. So अब शेयर होल्डर्स के पास नेक्स्ट 20 डेज होंगे to give the shares back to the company and get their money. That is the way the investors do, be it a voluntary delisting, be it a forced delisting.
Okay.
So shareholders get a time, shareholders get a notice, and shareholders get an offer price.
Offer price as in?
So company जब buyback करेगी, so suppose if I am a company and you are my shareholder, Parul, so if I am buying back share from you, I have to give you some price, correct? Free में थोड़ा करूँगा.
Okay, the over and above the original.
हाँ. So if let's assume currently so suppose if the stock is trading at 100 rupees, if I come out and say, Parul, give my share back at 100 rupees, you might not be interested, correct? Because 100 का तो मार्केट में चल रहा है, आप किसी को भी बेच 100 rupees कमा सकते. But if I come back and say, I will give you 120. So nobody in the market is giving you 120. I am the only one. So you would be more motivated or encouraged to sell this back to me.
Okay.
हाँ जी. There was another question, correct? If I am not wrong, कल एक और question था जो मैंने कहा था कल continue करेंगे. Parul, was it from you or someone else? I don't
No.
recollect.
I
So
also
एक
don't.
Okay. ठीक है. Any other question? As I told you yesterday, I'm more than happy to take any other question as well. Guys, any other question, any query, anything?
Have we completed all the slides of this landscape? No, other than the dew point and all that.
So we're not
few things. Yes, that I know.
Yeah, so I will explicitly let you know those topics so there is no disconnect. In case apart from those topics, if you believe any slide that have been missed, I can do that. So 2 point is being not done. Valuation की 2 slides हैं जो नहीं करी है. ठीक है. 2 point ratio analysis एक topic है आपका. उसमें lined up है. ठीक है. Which I understand. I think KPMG से session होने वाला है. So that's why I've been told to hold on. तो उसमें होने वाला. Valuation I will take. Valuation will do in much detail. ये 2 slide is not good enough for evaluation. In fact, there will be full-fledged, I think, series of sessions on evaluation. ठीक है. Valuation require मैंने आपको 2 point require आपको मैंने और
The Chorus deal.
हाँ वो कराया नहीं है ऐसा नहीं है. वो मैंने आपको बोला था आप पढ़ लो.
नहीं.
Because that's a टाटा कोरस का केस. मैंने बहुत ब्रीफ में टाटा कोरस आई थिंक हम जब M&A डिस्कस कर रहे थे वर्टिकल हॉरिजॉन्टल तो मैंने टाटा कोरस क्या है वो बताया था. अगर आप लोगों ने वो केस पढ़ लिया है मैं अभी एक्सप्लेन कर सकता हूँ ये डिटेल में कर सकता हूँ. So that is, those slides are not that we have not done. I've told you to read that case and let me know in any questions. तो अगर पढ़ लिया है तो मैं भी एक्सप्लेन कर सकता हूँ. That's not a problem. But do point और valuation is those two slides जो भी hold पे है.
And that I know,
focus
that
hold
I
पे
know.
है.
That will not be covered over here. It will be covered first. The accounting part will be completed after that.
Correct. So apart from these two topics, uh, just give me a minute. सॉरी, वे वी, हाँ, सो ये दो टॉपिक्स हैं जो अभी हमने नहीं किए हैं, दीपक, एंड दीज आर द रीजन वी हैव नॉट डन, दीज आर लाइंड अप later. Anything apart from these two, so which you
Yes, I have
believe we've
one
not done?
question on because after this COVID, means most of the companies are going. Means the big giants are coming up with this inorganic growth of their businesses. Will it be impacting this overall scenario on growth perspective?
So let me
Means,
understand it.
means at the country level, or which is more impacting? It's an organic or inorganic growth of a company.
I didn't understand the question, so let you. So you're saying after this COVID,
Because distressed assets will be more. I mean, stressed assets will be more. Sorry.
so if you, your question is ki, due to COVID or this pandemic, there would be distressed asset, and hence uh, whether companies will go out for, so distressed asset has to be linked with inorganic, not with organic.
No, that
Because
I
if
know.
this, so if your question is on the inorganic, then I understood the question. The reason I was not clear is because you are asking on the organic side. So let me first answer the inorganic and see have I answered your question or not. So if your
Yes.
question is after this COVID,
I'm just coming. I
will,
mean, sorry. I'm just holding it for 2 minutes. Urgent call.
yeah. In the interim, anybody else we can take that question. So once Deepak is back. So हाँ जी, कोई और question किसी का?
Hello.
Yeah, Nimish.
Hello.
Yeah, Nimish. Can you hear me?
Yeah. सर
Good.
जिस एप्पल के ऐड आते हैं, एप्पल मोबाइल्स के, एप्पल के, उसमें मैक्सिमम टाइम ये होता है कि वो के साथ ऐड करता है, लाइक जब भी ऐड आ रहा होगा तो उसमें वो बीच में जियो का आ जाता है, या वोडाफोन किसी भी नेटवर्क के ऐड के साथ वो मतलब जो ऐड आता है एडवर्टीजमेंट, वो किसी नेटवर्क के साथ ऐड होके आता है. सो उसके पीछे क्या स्ट्रेटेजी या क्या थॉट्स हैं?
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. So I've seen both types of advertisements being issued or
या
made on air. So Apple sometimes yes come with, let's assume if Apple is launching a particular device or particular technology in association with, let's assume, Jio or Vodafone. So of course those specific ads has those references. But there are ads just there's no second party, and it's
सिर्फ
completely an
एप्पल होता
Apple.
है.
So it's both with, correct? It depends upon, so suppose Apple ने एक नया हैंडसेट लॉन्च किया और वो सिर्फ जियो यूजर्स को ही मिलेगा, या if you buy that handset you will get a Geo connection by default. So the ad will contain the Geo reference, correct? Because it's a combination that they have created together.
So, what are the benefit to the both you and the Apple? So, किस टाइप की वो सिनर्जी होती होगी या सर कुछ होगा? कैसे होते हैं दोनों?
So synergy ये है कि suppose आपको you are trying to promote, each of these is trying to get the customer of each of these. So for example, Apple is able to push its product to the customers who want to buy Geo, okay, and vice versa. Geo is able to push his customers who wants to buy Apple. So that's one. And second is you're trying to create a segment very unique. So Apple anyways have products which, so you can buy an Apple phone and then you can decide which service provider you want to go. You want to go to Airtel, you want to go to Jio, you want to go. So that's most of the Apple phones are like this, correct? You define your service provider. Okay. The other combination is that for a particular handset, they say, okay, that choice is not available to you because we've done an association with Jio. So if you buy this handset, this will be a Jio service provider. So they don't do very aggressively. They do it for one or probably two handsets. So and knowing an Apple space, it's not a great success because the Jio is about the mass distribution, correct? But Apple is not a mass product.
Yeah.
So हाँ, तो इसमें इतना कोई खास significant piece उनको नहीं दिखा है, इसलिए अगर आप देखोगे they have not done it for every handset. They have only, I think, done
Yes.
for one or two, but not for every handset. Most of their technologies, be it a mobile phone or others, have no association or no linkages with the Jio, correct? As far as Indian markets are concerned.
Yeah. There's
Yes, sorry. Yeah, it was. About this,
So
we
before
were
I
discussing.
sir, Nimesh, we are discussing.
Okay, please.
Nimesh. So Nimesh, this is more of a, you have 10-20 handset or 10-20 technology to sell. You're associating one technology with one of the partners. That's the way you need to look at it. Not you're not linking all technology.
okay.
Does that answer your
Now,
question?
yes. Thank you.
Yeah, Deepak.
Yeah, the question will be the same, that inorganic growth will be more after this COVID pandemic, or means because nobody is organic growth will be hampered versus inorganic one.
See, the answer is yes and no both. So, and I will tell you when inorganic growth will happen. So, once for an inorganic growth to happen, first one party has to get an organic growth. Then only that party can go to distressed company and do an inorganic growth. You're with me, Deepak, on this?
Yes, maybe.
If both the companies are under distress and struggling, you can't have an inorganic growth.
No, one should be in a healthy position. That's only.
So now, because of this pandemic, this is not an industry specific, this is not a company specific issue. Everybody is struggling. I don't think except few companies like, say, suppose e-commerce or health and medical, Medicare, उसमें भी कुछ sections काफी impact हो गए हैं, कुछ sections नहीं impact हुए हैं. So I think barring except few, most of the businesses have got an impact and have seen a significant impact on the growth on their sales. So some has gone under distress as well. So let's assume there are two companies, एक को impact हुआ, but वो इतना distress नहीं हुआ है, और दूसरा को इतना impact हुआ कि वो distress हो गया. Now, if A has to acquire B, first A should be in a position कि वो B को लेके acquire कर सके. But अभी जो current scenario है, A खुद ही struggle कर रहा है, ठीक है? I agree the struggle might not be too big enough, but वो खुद ही struggle कर रहा है. अगले आने वाले 1-2 quarter or probably more than that, जिस तरीके से numbers बढ़ रहे हैं, seems to be a concern. ठीक है? It is not about this. See, inorganic growth क्यों होता है? पहले हम वो समझते हैं. जैसे कंपनी A है, कंपनी A का प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी लेट्स से 100 यूनिट्स और उसकी डिमांड 100 तक पहुंच चुकी है. अब उसके बाद और डिमांड आ रहा है, बट वो कैपेसिटी बढ़ाने के लिए उसको खुद टाइम लगेगा या रिसोर्सेज लगेंगे, तो सोचता किसी भी बनी बनाई प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी को खरीद लेता हूँ. दैट्स व्हाट द इनऑर्गेनिक ग्रोथ. बट इन करंट पेंडेमिक एनवायरनमेंट जो डिमांड है वो खुद ही नीचे चली गई है, तो जो ए है उसके बाद खुद की ही अपनी एक्सेस कैपेसिटी पड़ी हुई है, तो वो इतना मोटिवेटेड नहीं है इन अ करंट एनवायरनमेंट एंड जो लाइकली नियर फ्यूचर है वो थोड़ा अनसर्टेन अभी भी बना हुआ है, तो बहुत ज्यादा एग्रेसिव होने के लिए इनऑर्गेनिक ग्रोथ में. हाँ, व्हाट विल हैपन, जैसे जैसे पेंडेमिक का इफेक्ट और रिड्यूस होना शुरू होगा, ये अनसर्टेनिटी थोड़ी कम होने शुरू होगी, एंड द कंपनीज हु आर एबल टू बाउंस बैक फ्रॉम देयर प्रॉब्लम्स, और वो एक कंफर्टेबल पोजीशन में आ जाते हैं, एंड if at that time they see any company which is at a very distressed, continue to be under distress, और वो काफी अच्छे multiples में from valuation perspective available है, then yes I see उस phase में जाके you can see some of these inorganic components or acquisitions could happen, but not before this. हाँ, there could be couple of here and there, जैसे रिलायंस का कल हमने एग्जांपल डिस्कस किया फ्यूचर ग्रुप वाला, तो ऐसे होते रहेंगे एक दो, बट यू विल नॉट सीरीज अ मैसिव सीरीज कि हाँ हर दिन आपको या हर वीक आपको एक नया दिख रहा है, वो आई डोंट थिंक अभी होगा. इट विल टेक इट्स ओन टाइम टू हैपन. Every company has to serve, so the question now is about the survival, Deepak. So in next few quarters or probably a little more than that, the question will be on the survival for each company. So and most of the company try and survive through through organic growth by cutting down the cost, by changing their way of business. Correct. A lot of companies have rolled out different ways of doing their businesses, which they've never thought of doing before this pandemic. Deepak, does this answer your question?
Yes, to the extent. I have one more question regarding this Glanza and Maruti JV. Can we can we say this is a partial cannibalizing for this
Yeah.
Maruti Baleno product?
Yeah. Yes. Only difference here is the tenure is defined, that for what period and what up to what extent you can take away this. So that's pretty much defined in this JV or in this relationship. It's not an unlimited kind of a concept.
Okay.
Hanji, anybody else? Any question there? Hanji. Guys, last time, any questions? Okay. So, in case no questions, so we can talk about the resume piece. So before I start off this, uh, as I mentioned yesterday, just to reiterate that you will get your the resume sessions will be scheduled in level 3, which would be more detailed sessions where either me or whoever whatever training you get for those resumes. So we'll look at your individual, or ideally when I take those sessions, and I look at your individual resumes and do those customization in terms of what needs to be done, what changes needs to be brought in. There's a discussion that happens with an individual candidate to understand what he or she is, what's her background, what's her past from an academic and professional perspective, and then I try and help that individual to bring those strengths or bring those achievements into resume, or if it's already there on the resume, how do you highlight that, or how do I ensure that those gets highlighted in some shape and form. So those are very specific individual customization kind of an approach that happens. So that will happen. So, but the objective of today's session is to just give you in terms of brief and just trying to fill in, because if you have no more questions, so but the objective is not to wrap up resume today. Okay, because there will be a massive piece जो आगे lined up किया जाएगा. So I don't want you to take or be under the impression that this is not good enough. Yes, what we'll discuss today is not good enough. That's being told to you upfront, because this is not the only piece for the resume. Okay. Before I kickstart, any questions on this? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So according to you, what is resume? Why do we prepare this resume? Anybody who wants to share his or her thought? What is resume and what is your objective?
So it's a detailed background of a person and what all the person has done up till now. Before asking the person directly, one can look at their resume and get an idea of where they stand
Okay,
at
so
present.
it contains your details or your achievement, both in terms of academics or and professional, in case
Yes,
you're
sir.
working and have an experience. Take your point taken, or what else? So it contains your information, your relevant information, or anybody else wants to add anything or fine tune this.
It also represents how we are presenting about ourselves in. I mean, uh, it also shows how we are presenting ourselves on the piece of paper.
How we are
Not very
presenting ourselves on a
detailed.
piece of paper. Okay. Okay.
The skills,
Yeah,
the skill set.
presenting yourself could be your skill set, your other capabilities. Okay, fair. Or just it's contains your past details. It you're trying to bring out your skill set on a piece of paper. Okay, or
Past experience and present experience is also mentioned in the resumes.
Shivash, so your voice is not very clear. Use
Last 1 weeks not a good.
I can't hear you very clearly.
Hello, are you listening to me? Hello.
Shivash, your voice is not very clear. And anybody else?
Basically, resume showcases the overall personality, or we can say the quality and skills of a person, of an individual. And through resume interview, a person who is taking interview or the organization can understand the need of that people as well. Like they can shortlist from resume. That can be the first part.
Okay. Okay. So the way I look at resume from either side, either from uh, interviewee side when I sit on this side of the table, or when I sit on the other side of the table into the panel for recruitment. From both the side, I will try and give a perspective so that you understand. So to me, from an interview side बात करते हैं, because I think that's where you are more interested, should be more interested as of now. Okay, the other side of the table will come probably later in your career, but let's talk about this side of the table first. So when I'm submitting a resume for seeking a job, the it is for me it is my marketing tool. I'm trying to market myself. Okay, I'm trying to sell myself. Okay, the point here is the objective of resume is not that I would get a job. That's not, at least I look at resume. The objective of the way I look at when I create resumes is the objective of resume to get an interview call. There's a big difference between those two. So objective of resume is not to get a job. Objective of resume is to get an interview call. Because there are two phases that happens, correct? So suppose you submit your resume and then you get an interview call. 99.999% you will get a call. It's unless you are you're born with a silver spoon, or you have some big godfather and you've just sent a resume and he says, okay, from tomorrow you join the organization without interview. Unless you have any of these, the resume will bring you to an interview round and round or series, and then you move on. Okay, so for me it is my marketing tool, and the objective is to get an interview call and then take it forward from there. And the important piece is this marketing tool when I will not be in person. So these are two pieces, important pieces when I look at resume from this side of the table, which is interview side. So which means if I'm sending a resume to the company or to the consultant, whoever, it's my marketing tool. The objective is to get an interview call. And the second part is more important, that this tool will be looked by someone when I will not be in person. Which means if I'm sending my resume to consultant in turn sending it to the hiring manager or to the company where the position is, I will not be in front of them when they are looking at my resume and deciding whether they should call me for an interview round or not. Any questions this so far on this piece, or anything that you disagree, or anything that you want to add to this on these two parts? This is my marketing tool to get an interview call. I'm not looking beyond that as of now, but I want to get an interview call, and it would be primarily used where I will not be in person I will not be in person available when this resume would be reviewed or when it would be shortlisted. The reason I'm emphasizing on these two parts, because when I construct the resume, I keep these two points as the pillars of constructing the resume. Any doubt? Anyone wants to add to this? Any disagreements? Any difference of opinion? Please feel free and let me.
No, sir, agreed.
Okay. So in case nothing to add, so I assume that you are in concurrence to this thought. So resume is my marketing tool when I'm not in person, and the objective is to get to the next step, which is to get an interview call. And this is will be used or will be reviewed when I will not be in person. So what does this mean? This means your resume should have certain things which pushes the hiring manager or the hiring HR to speak to you. Okay, which means it's okay to keep certain elements of to keep certain elements open in your resume. So when I say open, I'm going to clarify. When I say open, it means, for example, I don't need to put, so let me put this way. So for example, I belong to an M&A team, and let's assume I when I'm submitting my resume, I can say, okay, I'm about M&A. I can talk about, suppose, couple of deals. I don't need to. I can keep it open-ended, and try and create that gap which they believe, okay, so far I think this is relevant, but I want to understand this candidate more about these certain pieces. That's where it is important to bring those elements and try and articulate those elements in such a way that the recruiter or the hiring manager, hiring function, Fazlur, you want to ask
Azlur,
anything?
please mute.
Fazlur, in case you're not asking anything, can you go on mute? Yes, sir. We'll discuss in terms of how do you articulate those paras, or how do you frame those paras and sections. But I will bring that information to the extent that excites or that pushes the hiring manager or hiring HR to speak to me. It could be a telephonic or in-person interview. Okay. So that's the first piece. Second, because I will not be in person, I need to keep it very, 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 very simple. I can't use very, very technical terms, jargons, language, so that it becomes difficult for a reader to understand. I need to explain. That should not be the case for a resume. It should be very simple, so that when you are not in person, or when you're not standing with your resume, and the reader can still understand exactly the same thing in the same way what you wanted to explain. Okay. So just to give in perspective, in a initial part of my career, when I was in my MBA and I was trying to submit this resumes for uh, placement season of my college, uh, for I think 3-4 times I did couple of checks. So what I did, I let's say I've shared resume copy of my resume with one of my seniors, and say, can you tell me in terms of what you've understood with these pieces. And I used to check whether they are able to understand from looking at my resume exactly the same way which what I wanted to bring in. I generally used to select those seniors which don't know, which have never interacted with me, which have never with whom I have no relationship, or I have not contacted in the past, so they don't know me completely. I've also tried to show my resume to somebody who is not from a finance background, completely different domain. Say, okay, if this resume is seen by somebody who doesn't belong to my background, Okay, so suppose an HR is not a finance expert, correct? So I need to ensure if I bring lot of those technical jargons with somebody who doesn't come from a finance background, can I understand or not? So this is where the first piece is. Whenever somebody else is looking at my resume and reading the resume, depending upon whether it's from finance background or he or she is not from finance background, doesn't make a difference. But he or she should be able to understand exactly the same thing in the same way, to the same extent which I want. That's something that should come out in a resume. It can't be ambiguous. It can't be technical enough that for somebody who doesn't come from the same background, especially when you're changing your industry. Most of you might be changing the industry, correct? Because you're working in an X industry, you want to move to the industry B. So the people who would be interviewing, which will be from industry B, might not know a lot of stuff, a lot of technical terms from your industry A. Hence, it becomes important. It becomes important to ensure that you keep it simple and ensure the people on the other side understand exactly the same thing and same way what you wanted to explain. Any questions on this? ठीक है. And broadly क्या क्या information resume में आती है? जल्दी से if somebody can share those thought. What information you capture in your resume? You should capture your personal information. ठीक है. Your academic background. ठीक है. All those relevant information from your academic perspective, your professional information, your achievements, both professionally or academically, or in case you have some relevant achievement beyond these two categories as well. If you believe that's relevant, you can bring that also. If you have certain hobbies which is relevant, you can bring that as well. Your additional certifications, diploma, which might not be typically fall into an academic piece, which might not fall into typically into a professional section as well. So those pieces also we bring in. Depending upon the industry where you're applying, especially into industry like your travel or tourism oriented industry, if you're applying there. So if you know a couple of other languages as well, so that's also become a little relevant and important. So you can bring, but not, I think, doesn't matter too much to our industry. Suppose if I know French, it doesn't help too much because most of our global clients will have preferences to communicate in English, so it doesn't help too much. But again, depending upon the industry that you're applying, it might be useful. So language is one piece that we will try and bring in. References. A lot of people try and put references in a resume. I generally prefer not to keep those references at the initial stage, because as I told you, the objective when I try and create resume is not to get a job. वो बाद में आएगा. I will look at the step-by-step process. So hence my resume would not contain references. I would of course give you references when I reach to that stage where I believe and I am comfortable, yes, it's going towards the right direction, but not an initial stage. But that's again my personal preferences based of the experience. When you will Google out, you will see the both side of school of thoughts. Some of the one school of thought is you put the references in the first default resume itself, and the other side is what I've shared. So I leave it to you in terms of take your call. There's no wrong and right concept. It's just how do you your understanding of the industry and your understanding of the which step in the recruitment process you are. So for example, if I've been to a couple of rounds and I'm now speaking to the CEO of the organization, or I'm on the last round of an interview, of course, when I'm going for when I'm submitting my resume for that round, of course, I'll bring on the references now, because now you've reached to that stage where you want to tell the person your contacts and your network in the industry, right? So that's the way you need to try and play smart in terms of positioning your resume. So any questions, queries?
What are these references you are means considering in this? The person specific reference or what?
Am I audible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, yes. One thing, one
Yes, sir.
suggestion I want to give, Mr. Nishant. Uh, uh, hello.
Hello? Am I
Yes,
audible?
yes. You are audible. I want to give one suggestion, please.
Yeah.
Actually, whenever we are, I think we are facing a frequent technical issues on this part, because whenever we are asking, and it's means from your side, means due to technical issues, the things it just breaks the tempo of means the interaction.
So yes, I think what has happened, if you, I don't know whether so last to last weekend, there was some issue in the GoTo platform where I think all the
It's
whenever we,
don't treat this is a complaint, but this is
no,
my
it's a
concern.
complaint.
What
I
I
mean, why are we hesitating? Right? It's a complaint, sir. So that's what I'm trying to address. So what I understand that the it has been escalated to this platform. So GoToMeeting is not an Imarticus created platform, correct? So what now this is being resolved, and now, but still I think it's some work in progress. It is still not 100% resolved. So what happens, at least with me, what's happening when I'm speaking, my mic automatically goes into mute mode, and I'm not able to put on a, so when I click on that, it doesn't allow me to go in mute. It shows like a disabled kind of a thing, and after a couple of minutes it comes back into the mute mode. It allows me to put in an unmute mode. So uh, in I think last to last weekend, it was happening throughout the day. But now what I understand, it has been resolved majorly, but still I think some work is in process, which is expected to be. So were we facing this prior to, I think, last to last weekend? I think uh, I don't recollect before last to last weekend. Uh, we were facing this, correct, in terms of this technical glitch of by default getting into the mute. Was there the same issue before that? Because I've never experienced before that, a week or probably a couple of weeks before that.
Yes, I was asking on the reference part of this resume. What were the means to bring back to us in the discussion point? It's the reference you're talking about in the resume.
So what I told you, again, I don't know to what extent you could hear me and then it went to
No, no,
mute.
no. It till
So
reference. It was when I was put in my question. At that time, this issue has happened.
okay, so the what I mentioned, that I personally try and bring reference not at the first few stages of a few rounds of an interview. I generally try and bring references towards the later part of the journey of the interview process. Or so suppose if I'm sending my resume to somebody, for me to get an interview call, I will not put my references in my resume. But I'm heading when I'm being through couple of rounds and I'm heading towards the last round or second last round, that's where I will probably try and bring in references if I believe that's relevant at that stage. Otherwise, I'm trying to keep it still out till the time I believe now it's relevant to bring in.
In my 15 years of experience, I've never seen any resume. I mean, this is a new thing to me that somebody is putting references. Means probably it may be the practice. So that's why I'm very curious
Somebody
about
putting
how it
references or not putting references.
not putting. I mean, not somebody putting references basically.
So that's what I told you, correct? I don't put references. I put references at a very later stage when it's required. So how is
And
it
it will be
different
a
from?
part of resume. You want to say
No,
at
depends.
later stage also. Okay.
Depends. So sometimes the HR or the recruitment team tells you to submit that through a separate form. So generally, what they do when you reach to that stage, they give you a separate form or a link to submit your information, correct? And one of the field or the data point is references. So you have no choice because the company is now asking you to put the references. Or sometimes what I've seen into some of the other companies, it depends, correct? A lot of German and European companies, when before hitting into the negotiation round where they finally decide the salary, they ask you to put your references in the piece of the resume and sign it, because that becomes illegal. Which so India में इतना important नहीं है, correct? You can pick up call and speak to somebody and anybody, and there's no legal restrictions around this. But in some of the other countries, what are you doing? So for example, if I'm putting reference, let's say Deepak, I know Deepak, and I need to sign that copy and submit it. So because I'm authorizing the HR to call Deepak and speak about me. So because वहाँ पे law थोड़ा strict, आप किसी को भी call करते, so वहाँ पे वैसा requirement है कि आपको resume में वो reference डाल के sign करना पड़ेगा, and you उसमें नीचे एक line लिखी होती है, I authorize the company to speak to above officials about me करके, ऐसे आपको confirmation submit करना पड़ता है. India में I've never seen such kind of illegality coming so far. But India, it generally, when you reach to that stage, the HR tells you to fill this information, where the one part of the data points is reference. Again, it depends industry to industry. It depends especially on the level at which you are being hired. Generally, at a very junior to middle stage of there, you're not
Most
bothered.
of it is
Reference.
part of joining formalities, sir. When you reach the
Correct.
joining formality process.
May or may not be. So that's what Deepak is saying. He's saying he has not seen that
In banking
so far.
sector, it is there.
Correct. So sector to sector depend करता है, ठीक है?
Yeah.
So वो भी है, and also especially. So what's the objective of references? Let me try and put this. References is not an eligibility criteria. Let me put this. So references. So let me now go to the other side of the table. When I sit on the recruitment side, on this side of the table, the references. अगर आपके पास अच्छा reference है या नहीं है, it does not change my decision whether I want to whether I want to roll out an offer to you or not. So, but in certain position, your integrity, your have you done any misconduct in the past? Those pieces are very important. So, what does an HR or there's an investigation team, correct? When we roll out an offer, there's an investigation team which does an investigation on the candidates, especially when we're hiring somebody into those specific roles which require a lot of important responsibilities. So there's a checks that's being done against you, against your name. A lot of checks. Okay. So into those sensitive roles, these references are being picked and the calls are being made to understand that have you done anything wrong in your previous organizations or not. So it is not an eligibility criteria, but it is just to check was there anything negative about you. तो वो pieces के लिए generally ये जो ref teams होती हैं जो ये investigations करती हैं वो generally use करती हैं. कुछ इंडस्ट्री में कुछ हायरिंग मैनेजर इसको ऐसे भी देखते हैं आपकी नेटवर्क कितना स्ट्रांग है, but I honestly feel that's not a very, because in a current environment LinkedIn is a more relevant piece to get this. और आज की तारीख में your references in resume is less relevant vis-a-vis your other contacts, which is anyways available in public domain through the social platforms. So it depends. Suppose if I'm hiring somebody on a sales role, Deepak and Kritika, if I'm hiring somebody in a sales role and this is like a kind of a regional or a country role, will I be not interested in understanding what's your relationship, what's your contacts and ability around this? Because I'm hiring you for sales. So one of the important piece for you to do the sales, whether you have contacts, whether you have ability to knock the door and to give a call to somebody and say, I need to show this product or services to you or pitch this idea to you. That's something that a salesperson is expected to bring in, correct? So वो pieces के लिए कभी-कभी use होता है, but वो reference, वो जो 2 reference या 3 reference, उससे ज़्यादा I can get those information more from looking at the other social platforms. So Deepak, just to close this, you mentioned you've not seen these references, and I also mentioned the same thing, and I don't put references unless I've been asked to put references. Now this could be either a part of my resume, or it could be a separate application form or a part of the joining formality. Unless we reach to that stage, I generally don't put that. in the resume. If yes, if I reach to that stage where I've been told upfront that this round is about your it's your final round. It's with the very senior management for the purpose of probably salary discussions. In certain cases in the past, yes, I brought those references into resume for those rounds as well. Just because I believe that's relevant. Again, that's a personal choice, because sometimes I believe it's relevant to tell that other person that what I'm bringing on the table.
No, my question was specific on putting references on resume. This part, getting telling the reference and all that, they will cross check. This is a normal practice.
तो वो बताना पड़ेगा ना उनको, तभी तो चेक करेंगे.
Yes, you're correct.
चलो को दो पीसेस है, वही समझाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. Here when I'm putting, एक तो मैंने वो क्लियर कर दिया सर, I belong to that school of thought which believes कि references डालने की जरूरत नहीं है resume में at the initial stages. So is that part sorted? Second part, the organization will need those references. Again, every organization has different recruitment process. Some of the organization might need, some of the organization might not need. If the organization needs to do those checks for that candidate, they will ask me to give that information. Now, whether they ask me to give that information in their resume, whether they ask me to give that information in an application form, or whether they ask me to give that information separately. So whatever they tell me to give that, whatever mode they will define for me to give that information, I will use that. So I think that's also simple and sorted. The last piece, which I think where seems you have a disconnect, is let's assume the organization has not asked for references from me as of now. They've not asked any references from me. Now I've reached to that stage. I have reached to that stage where I believe it's very much likely that I will get through. But now it's more of a discussion happening on the salary side, or a round where it's with the very, very senior management, or let's say CEO of the organization, or the country head of the organization, or the global head of the organization. मैं personally वहाँ पे prefer करता हूँ to bring my references in my resume from my side. ठीक है. But the objective here is not to tell them आप इसको call करके check कर लो. Is objective of this is to tell them this is the network I have this in markets in this country or this region. Again, depends on role, because I primarily drive more of a sales oriented roles, okay, especially at these country or regional head roles. So generally वहाँ पे थोड़ा relevant. So ऐसे समझो ना, आप एक regional head हो, ठीक है, और आप let's assume you're hiring somebody one down to you, which will be heading couple of countries, और उस country की जो major corporates हैं, आप उनके CEO के references अगर डाल देते हो, आप सोच रहे हो how much value your resume will change vis-a-vis if I remove those references at that stage when you're heading towards the last round of when you're heading into the discussion of yourself. Deepak, is this making sense?
Yes.
But let's say अगर आप एक ऑपरेशन में मुझे ऑपरेशन रोल के लिए हायर किया जा रहा है, तो मैं किसी कंट्री के किसी कंपनी के, और वो कंपनी लेट्स assume is one of those 5 top companies of that country, उसकी सीईओ का रेफरेंस इज irrelevant because मैं उससे कुछ बिजनेस नहीं लेके आ पाऊंगा कंपनी के, because I'm being hired into operation role. But if I'm being hired into a business role or into like M&A deals roles or something which is on the sales side, it'll be research or stuff like this. If I put couple of these big references, it means what? It means that I have a contact over there. I've worked with these people and I'm so confident you can speak to them and check against me, correct? So that's what you're trying to throw an extra piece on your resume before you start hitting and pushing for a salary negotiation. It's about being a little more smart to bring relevant information at right stages to rather than throwing all cards at one go and just try and being very smart into this recruitment process and try and show the relevant cards at relevant time. I believe is an important piece of getting a good offers. Uh, Anything else, guys? So that's to me the summary. So we talked about references. We talked about hobbies. I've discussed in terms of academic information. Everything should come. Professional, everything should come. I've given you personal information again, what you believe relevant. Any achievement which is academic or professional should come. Any achievement beyond this, if you believe that's relevant for you to market yourself, again, can be part of your resume. Um, any certification, any diploma which you find it difficult to fit under your academic section, again, you can bring on that on resume. So these are the core components of your resume. Having said this, I'm not concluding that these are the only stuff. When we get into those individual customization or discussion for the resume, there is possibility when you tell me more about yourself or your background or your past, there could be a possibility that we realize, okay, no, let's bring that piece also to resume. But that's something which is more customization rather than having a general discussions. So yeah. Any questions, doubt? Anybody wants to add anything? कुछ पूछना है तो बताइए. Nobody has asked me anything on this. How many of you are in concurrence with that thought that I shared, that I believe that the objective of resume is not to get a job. The objective of a resume is to get a call to get an interview call. Because generally when I share this with most of the other batches, there's a lot of discussions happen on this. So just wanted to see any thoughts on that. But have you understood a difference between both of these? It's completely two different school of thought. The objective of resume to get an interview call, the objective of resume to get the job. Okay. So in case sometimes what I try and do, it's not necessarily I always will get an opportunity to do this. So if generally our side of the business is generally don't hire. We don't also hire in a one round, right? It's generally series of the rounds. It might somewhere from 3 to 7 or 3 to 8 rounds as well. So as an interviewee, I try and update resume after every round to try and bring relevant information, try and knock off the information which is now irrelevant. ये हर जगह इतना आसानी से नहीं possible होता because some of the organizations HR freezes your resume, which means that once you submit the resume, they freeze for the last round. ठीक है, so which means they do not allow you to change anything. Some of the organizations very fluid होती है, so they after every round they will allow you to change your resume. Okay, so again, I generally prefer to be more smart enough to try and get the sense what's happening, what's possible in this company, and then try and use your cards accordingly. So if I have a flexibility to change or upgrade, so I'm not factually changing any data. Please try and understand. It's not that मैंने एक resume में लिखा कि I've done an MBA and then I say okay I'm not done an MBA. So that's not what I'm talking about. So it's more of an articulation piece. It's about juggling the pieces, correct? Bringing some piece up into resume, bringing some piece back to the second page, and so on and stuff like this. Or for example, when I've gone into first round, I've got an opportunity to understand the role better because the interviewer explained me the role. And us understanding में फिर oh I have done this particular deal or this particular big transaction which I've not put earlier because I didn't understood the role to that extent जो मुझे first round में समझ. I will bring that change and addition before I submit for the second round. So those kind of an incremental changes I try and do when you're moving across from one down to another and you're moving ahead into the process. Any questions on that?
So you suggest the lengthier or detailed is preferred or the shorter and crisp?
I never said this. I have never discussed
What's the
anything for the
question?
length. Sorry?
It's a question, so like the which one is better, or
No,
what
so
could be
you
the
no, let's do vice versa. I prefer the reverse approach. First, you decide what you believe is important for you to market yourself. Put everything on the piece of paper. Don't worry about the length. Now, if once you put that information and that information gets completed in the first page, there's no question about the length, correct? This question will come when you put everything about yourself and that information goes to 10 pages. Then the question is how much pages should I how much I need to knock off. So generally for somebody who's into experience bracket of let's say 0 to 5 years, 0 to 8 years bracket experience में, generally up to 2 page resume is decent enough. There's no rule which you can't go beyond that, but generally 2 page resume is good enough. If the nature of your work is something or the industry is something where there's a lot of explanation required, especially like into a construction oriented industries I've seen, into a lot of engineering oriented industries I've seen, because you need to specify a lot of other extra information about those pieces. Sometimes generally into those industries the resumes could be little, might stretch up to 2.5 pages as well, but 2 to 2.5 page is a decent size of a resume. I personally prefer not to go beyond 2 pages. So I've been into the industry for now close to little more than 15 years, but I generally try and prefer to not go beyond 2 pages. But ऐसा कोई rule नहीं है. I think it was Parlo कहते हुए. So ऐसा कोई rule नहीं है that you can't go beyond 2 pages. It's just if you believe you have a lot of information and you can't get into the 2 page pieces, then of course you can go up to 3 pages as well.
okay?
It's just when I
And
sit
from
on the other
interview,
side, sorry, when I sit on the other side of the table as an interviewer, I personally don't like very long, very lengthy resumes. Okay, so that's the reason I try and not put my resume also beyond 2 pages. Okay, because मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि ये भी एक स्किल सेट है कि अगर मेरे पास बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन है अपने बारे में डालने के लिए, तो मैं उसको कैसे 2 पेज में लेके आता हूँ और कैसे एक स्मार्ट कॉल लेता हूँ कि विच शुड बी, उसको किसको कितना कैसे एक्सप्लेन करना है. If I can't do this, then I will not be able to do this for my corporates. So let me put this way: if I have to submit an equity research to the client, generally our equity research report runs into 100, 200 odd pages, correct? Now, if I have to submit a 2-page summary to the client, I need to do the same assessment, correct? And exactly the same thing
yes,
for me. If I have to put everything about myself on a piece of paper, probably it might stretch up to some 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 pages depending upon your past and things that you've done. Would I prefer that to be a good and smart executive approach? The answer is no. So that's where you try and become more smart to bring it in a more concise form, at the same time without diluting something which is important for you to get that call. But I'm just making it clear, ऐसा नहीं है कि 2 pages से ऊपर जाओगे तो कुछ गलत हो जाएगा. If you believe you can defend that, if you believe you have information, feel free and do that.
okay, got it. And from the interviewer perspective, what are the first few things that he or she looks upon? Like, if you are not present and the interviewer is just reviewing the
So
resumes.
मैं सिर्फ एक चीज देखने की कोशिश करता हूँ, ठीक है, and whenever I've interacted with my similar people in my similar segment and seniority, when they also recruit, I think more or less a lot of recruiter looks at the same. I'm saying recruiter, I'm talking about the functional guy, the technical hiring manager, not the HR. HR बहुत सारी अलग अलग चीजें देखता है, वो मैं आपको बाद में बताऊंगा when we go to that stage. But I'm talking about more of an hiring boss or functional manager. ठीक है, जो टेक्निकल राउंड्स वाले जो लोग होते हैं वो क्या देखते हैं, ठीक है, एचआर थोड़ा अलग तरीके से देखता है, ठीक है. सो is whether this candidate is fit for this role or not, and what value this candidate will bring in. This is what I look at generally at the initial round of the process. Okay, if the candidate is able to satisfy me into these few rounds, and when we're reaching to that stage of making an offer to that candidate, then I start looking at the second part, कि वो जो वैल्यू लेके आ रहा है मेरी टीम में, मेरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर, उस वैल्यू के लिए या उस स्किल सेट के लिए मैं उसको कितना प्राइस देने के लिए रेडी, वो पीस बहुत बाद में आती है। when the candidate, मुझे कैंडिडेट पसंद आ गया है और candidate is able to convince me that he or she is a good resource for us to and deserves to work with us. So once we reach to that stage, then we look at the second part. But the first, because we are not talking about the interview pieces, we're talking about the resume pieces. So that's my answer. Ki I look at how fit is that candidate for this role and what value he or she can add to the team or to the bigger organization. ये कैसे करते हैं, ये रिज्यूमे में कैसे लिखते हैं, कैसे वर्ड करते हैं, ये सब है जो कृतिका आपको सिखाऊंगा when we reach to that stage of those individual customization of resume कैसे करते हैं। उसमें मुझे आपके पास्ट के बारे में, आपका एकेडमिक के बारे में, आपका प्रोफेशनल एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में थोड़ा समझना पड़ेगा, and then I would be able to help you. Okay, let's try and articulate this way, let's try and frame this way, let's remove this, let's bring this piece into resume. So वो discussion होगी जब when we reach that stage. But broadly मैंने आपको sense दे दिया कि what a recruiter will look at or what recruiter will expect from a resume. So आपको अपने resume में सिर्फ अपने बारे में बताना नहीं होता कि ये मैं ये हूँ, ठीक है, वो तो important piece है। उस प्रोसेस में आपको ये भी कन्वे करना होता है how I am relevant and fit for that job or for that role. वो पीस रिक्रूटर देखता है।
Like in the experience
candidates
perspective, career objective.
Both, be it an experience, be it an academic, be it an overall personality and talent. From both of these sides, I will look at कि आप कितना
Like
fit.
actually like you are going for a change in your profile, and you have not that like it is banking, but now like suppose you are working in some compliance team, and now you are going for some trade operations profile. So the person who is not taking an interview and just looking at the resumes might not consider an inexperienced person. So how you can get through that?
हाँ, तो वही था ना कि कस्टमाइजेशन कैसे करना है, आपको अपने रिज्यूमे में क्या लिखना है, या वो आपका जो पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस है, इफ यू बिलीव दैट पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस इज नॉट गुड इनफ फॉर यू टू गेट एन इंटरव्यू कॉल, देन हाउ डू यू स्ट्रक्चर दैट आर्टिकुलेशन इन योर रिज्यूमे, वही तो पीस है ना। बट I'm not trying to get into क्या लिखना है, I think you're still trying to get into those pieces कि मैं कैसे लिखूं, and becoming a more individualistic case. As I told you, this is not the session, the objective of the session is वो आगे करेंगे. But do you agree, whether you're coming from a compliance segment and moving to operations or any other field, or you are from operation and moving to operation, I still need to convince the interviewer through resume that I'm a fit for this role and I will add value, correct?
Yes.
The challenge is कि मैं एक X रोल से Y रोल में जा रहा हूँ, तो मैं कैसे कन्विंस करूंगा या मैं कैसे रिज्यूमे में लेके आऊँ। अगर आप वो डाउटफुल है तो वो तो आपको इंटरव्यू कॉल आ जाएगी तो भी आप डाउटफुल ही रहेंगे ना, बिकॉज इंटरव्यू में भी फिर आप कैसे कन्विंस करोगे। अगर आप खुद ही कन्विंस नहीं हो तो आप कभी भी इंटरव्यूअर को कन्विंस नहीं कर सकते। और जिस तरीके से आप साउंड कर रहे हो, इट सीम्स कि आपको खुद ही इतनी श्योरिटी नहीं है, यू बिलीव कि मैंने वो सब नहीं किया है या मैंने अभी तक वो सब नहीं किया है, बीट फ्रॉम एन एक्सपीरियंस पर्सपेक्टिव, बीट फ्रॉम एन नॉलेज पर्सपेक्टिव, टू गेट इनटू दैट न्यू रोल। अगर आपको लगता है आपने वो सब करा है, you might not have an experience for it, you might not have worked into that domain, but you know okay उस domain में काम करने के लिए ABC आना चाहिए, at least from a knowledge perspective, और मैंने वो ABC बाहर से, बीट माई स्कूल, बीट सम डिप्लोमा, या मैंने पर्सनल साइड पे कहीं से सीख लिया है, करेक्ट? तो I will bring that, correct, in some shape and form in my resume. That's what helped the interview to get the sense, okay, she has not worked into the operations, but this operations is about, let's assume, it's about equity settlements, और equity settlements की इसको knowledge है, और मुझे वो knowledge के pieces यहाँ यहाँ दिख रहे हैं.
Okay, understood.
ठीक है. Guys, any other question, guys, before we wrap up? Anything else on resume? ठीक है. चलिए, in case no, so we'll continue and talk about more, and probably in much more length when you have these resume sessions. These will be scheduled towards the end of level 2 or the beginning of the level 3. Okay, so in case get any other questions, we anyways will get more opportunity to discuss this at length. On that note, okay, thank you, and we'll continue next when we have sessions. Any questions finally before we close?
One question I have about you. The academic credentials you are carrying. It's probably you told us. I don't know.
Academic, my academic qualification. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
So I'm an MBA grad. I've done MBA in finance. I hold CFA and FRM. I've also done economics honors. That's the piece, and I hold a couple of certifications from a US trading markets, because when I was in US and I was handling a certain, so in US, if you're handling a portfolio beyond a particular size and into the trading side, you need to clear certain exams for US market. Those are very specific to US regulators. So I've done a couple of those. I'm also hold the certifications to trade into the Singapore markets as well. So, but those are more of in specific countries certification, where you're required by the rule of that country. The law of the country requires you to clear certain exams. So, but I think broadly that's the my academic side. But I personally believe ये सब irrelevant हो जाता है, because what becomes more important is, so you might hold 20 degrees on your resume, is correct, but
No. I'm asking
Understood.
just.
Uh-huh.
No, not from that perspective, because if you after 13-14 years, if you want to switch from one industry to another, at least you should carry some good credentials on academic aspect, so that you can sell yourself.
No discount. So I am completely in agreement that these academic background is your foundation, correct? And wherever you go, be it after 20 years or be it at the first year of your career, your foundation becomes very important. But what I've seen, as you move up in the hierarchy, generally people are more interested. So for example, जो मैंने अपना first interview दिया था from my MBA college, I still remember that. Over there, it was more about, because of experience तो कुछ था ही नहीं, correct? You were fresh, correct? The companies coming to our campuses. So at that time, I only had my economics honors, and I was into the end of the first year. No, not the end of the first year. I think third semester of my second year of my MBA. And मैंने CFA भी level 1 ही दिया था तब तक. So they were more interested about my degrees and qualifications, correct? And what I've done into that MBA, because I've done a lot of stuff during those during my MBA tenure. So, but when I go now, what I've seen, these credentials is more of an HR criteria, but generally hiring manager is more interested in knowing काम क्या किया इस 15 साल में, वो बताओ क्या business है क्या है. So वो थोड़ा सा I'm just trying to tell you the importance है, जो market importance देता है आपकी degrees को, वो initial stage of the career में ज्यादा importance मिलती है, उसकी value ज्यादा रह जाती है. As you go up, वो degrees एक one of the criteria रह जाता है, but more important आपका work and what leadership you bring in, what other skill set you bring in, वो ज्यादा I think important बन जाता है when you're getting from a purely from getting those offers perspective से देखते हैं.
I have a little bit difference of opinion in this, because for example, if you're saying that somebody is hiring for risk manager and a person who is carrying a credentials little and a person who is a certified FRM, means वो भीड़ से अलग होगा for sure.
नहीं मना नहीं कर रहा, मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ. So let's assume if I'm hiring somebody who's been into the risk management for last 10 years, but let's assume does not hold an FRM certification. Case 2, if I'm hiring somebody who is FRM certified and still into the risk management for 10 years, अगर ये दोनों कैंडिडेट हैं और मुझे दोनों सेम कॉस्ट पे मिल रहे हैं, कॉस्ट इज ऑल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर मी, करेक्ट? आई कांट डिस्ट्रॉय माय पीएनएल ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. अगर मुझे दोनों सेम कॉस्ट पे मिल रहे हैं बंदे, तो मैं एफआरएम सर्टिफाइड वाले को उठा लूंगा. बट if the cost में बहुत difference है, let's assume the FRM certified guy but still holding 10 years into risk management, the non FRM certified guy is still holding 10 years into risk management, और दोनों की जो knowledge मैंने जो इंटरव्यू में दोनों से बात किया, knowledge सेम लेवल पे मुझे लेके आती हैं, करेक्ट? which means जो मेरे को क्वेश्चंस चाहिए, जो मेरे को स्किल सेट चाहिए, जो मुझे knowledge of understanding and capability of the understanding the risk and ability to tell me how do you manage those risks, as long as they both are able to convince me exactly the same side. अब अगर बहुत ज्यादा कॉस्ट में डिफरेंस नहीं है एंड सॉरी कॉस्ट में डिफरेंस है, which means the person who is an FRM certified is trying to is asking for a money which is far more than what this other person is guy, I would try and hire that person because उस person ने मुझे convince कर लिया, and then once that person gets on board, I will probably try and understand whether he has an apprehension from a personal perspective, whether he has a capacity to do that certification or not. And then I will ask my HR to sponsor those, and if that person is comfortable to stay with us, because generally that's the way we try and drive those resources, correct? There's so many resources that we've hired and we've sponsored their CFAs, we've sponsored those FRM and some of the other international certifications because we are more interested in that talent. Of course, certification is important. जैसे मैंने बताया, अगर मेरे को दोनों सेम कॉस्ट पे मिल रहे हैं, नो डाउट मैं वो FRM सर्टिफाइड बंदे को उठा लूंगा क्योंकि मुझे वो सेम कॉस्ट पे मिल रहा है. बट अगर मुझे वो हाई प्राइस पे मिल रहा है, बट एज फार एज द नॉलेज इज कंसर्न, दोनों ने मुझे उस इंटरव्यू में सेम कन्विंस कर लिया है, और जिस प्रोजेक्ट के लिए मैं हायर कर रहा हूँ वहां की कोई लीगल रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है, प्री रिक्विजिट नहीं है कि मुझे, फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैंने यूएस, वहां पे उस एग्जाम की सर्टिफिकेशन देने की प्री रिक्विजिट थी कि जो बंदा दे रहा है उसको FRM सर्टिफाइड होना ही पड़ेगा तभी वो एग्जाम दे सकता है. सो आई हैव नो चॉइस, करेक्ट? आई वाज picked from the lot जिन लोगों ने किया हुआ था, correct, for that process. So it works on both the side. दीपक, ऐसा कोई strict rules नहीं होते हैं. We also look into sometimes the limitation of the resources as well. If you've got a mandate from our global team or our regional team that I don't know in terms of how does it work in your organization, but in most of our side, this is the mandate that comes from a global team. So global team बोलता है इस पोजीशन के लिए इतना कॉस्ट, उस कॉस्ट में HR के पास फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी होती है X% खेलने की. X% ऊपर जा सकता है और X% नीचे जा सकता है. उसके बाद हायरिंग मैनेजर के पास रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है और कंट्री हेड के पास रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है टू प्ले विद Y% की Y% इतना ऊपर और Y% इतना नीचे. इसके बियॉन्ड जनरली इतना आसान नहीं होता है because it will again go back to the global. You need to get the approval from a lot of people कि बॉस हम इसको deviate करके लेके जा रहे हैं. I'm not saying ऐसा नहीं होता, we've done that in past, but generally आप उसको avoid करना चाहते हो unless there's an exceptional talent which you're trying to onboard. So अगर मुझे सेम कॉस्टिंग पे मिल रहा है तो मैं सर्टिफाइड वाले बंदे को उठाऊंगा. अगर वो मेरी प्राइसिंग से या मेरी बजट से ऊपर जा रहा है और मुझे नॉन सर्टिफाइड वाला बंदा मिल रहा है जो जो वो मुझे कन्विंस कर पा रहा है इस इक्विवेलेंट टू सर्टिफाइड वाला पर्सन, बिकॉज उसने 10 साल रिस्क मैनेजमेंट में काम कर लिया है, ऐसा नहीं है मैं फ्रेशर उठा रहा हूँ, देन आई एम हैप्पी टू hire somebody who was not holding that certification because वो मेरे बजट में आ रहा है. मैं बहुत ज्यादा पर्सनल इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं देता हूँ. So for example there have been escalations against me कि I've been so I'm an alumni for IIMs, correct? So I did my from Bangalore, IIM Bangalore. So I go to IIMs Ahmedabad, Bangalore for the recruitment, correct? And I sometimes go and reject candidates there, and I hire a candidate from for the same role from a B school which might not be equivalent to those. And sometimes my HR comes back to me, ये तू कैसे कर सकता है? How can you go and reject people from A and B? And we've been eliminated to a B school, to same Bangalore school, and you still reject a candidate, and you're picking up somebody from again a B school, but not of that same scale and level. Okay, but that's the way it works, correct? I'm not interested in the degree that you bring in. I'm more interested in the knowledge that you bring in, and can you convince me that you're somebody who's worth for us? I'm not saying कि मैं उनके against हूँ. For me, when I go and hire, I have an authority to sign that offer and decide, okay, if I'm paying you X, can you bring 20X to my team? If yes, then I'm willing to pay you X. Now, वो X के लिए आप किस डिग्री से आ रहे हो, आप कौन से कॉलेज से आ रहे हो, वो शायद मेरे HR को मैटर करता होगा, मुझे ज्यादा मैटर नहीं करता.
Yes.
क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि if I like the candidate, if I like the talent as a overall, in terms of certification, in terms of sponsors, in terms of the grooming that I would do for my team, उसमें कोई I think issue नहीं है. There's a lot of grooming, lot of talent upbringing that's being done for these people, for these kids. So उसमें इतना issue नहीं आता जल्दी.
Yes. I agreed with your explanation, because if a person is IIMs, he's not able to put some basic requirements, what is that job requires, and a person who is not from IIMs, from other B schools, and if he's able to do that, then it's worth to take that second one.
Yeah. And again, we look at more from an investment perspective.
And one more thing, sorry. These resume sessions will be individuals or will be in a group?
Will be in a group, but what will happen? So for example, जैसे अभी चल रहा है ऐसे ही होगा, but आप मुझे अपना resume दिखाओगे one on one का मतलब मैं आपका resume देख पाऊंगा, और फिर मैं आपके resume में बाकी लोग चुप रहेंगे, बाकी लोग आपको सुन रहे होंगे, मेरी और आपकी कन्वर्सेशन देख रहे होंगे, सुन रहे होंगे, ठीक है? आई डोंट नो तब तक ऑनलाइन रहेगा कि इन क्लास इन पर्सन स्टार्ट हो जाएगा, बट एज्यूमिंग इन ऑनलाइन ही चल रहा है, तो बाकी लोग सुन रहे होंगे, बट मैं आपका रिज्यूमे देखूंगा, मैं पूछूंगा दीपक अच्छा अपने बारे में बताओ, अपना पास्ट बताओ, आप मुझे बता रहे हो, मैं आपको पूछूंगा रिज्यूमे ये चीज क्यों लिखी है, तो आप मुझे बताओगे वो चीज, एंड देन आई विल टेल यू अच्छा ये चीज को ऐसे नहीं ऐसे लिखते हैं, इसका क्या पर्सपेक्टिव है. दोस इंडिविजुअल कॉन्वर्सेशंस विल हैपन, बट दोस सेशन विल नॉट बी वन ऑन वन. पीपल विल बी देयर, देन आपका 5-10 मिनट में आपका टर्न हो जाएगा, तो लेट्स assume somebody else will come in, but आप उसको सुन पाओगे. That's the way the session will be. But the individual student will get an opportunity to, or I will be able to give you those individual inputs which might be unique to your resume but might not be relevant for, let's assume, somebody else's resume. Because हर किसी का resume background बहुत different होगा ना.
Okay, understood.
ठीक है, चलिए guys. So thanks a lot. We'll connect when we meet again. ठीक है, चलिए, thanks, bye.